champion. He played a great deck.
We laid beats on his deck and we were wrong.
Hey, wow! It's like from two good Magic players to two not good Magic players. That was uncanny. All right, okay, well, welcome back. It's Rich Hagan and Bill Stark here for the semi-finals of Pro Tour Kuala Lumpur. You're very welcome. We're going to get near enough straight into the action. This is what we've got for you. In semi-final one, Marcio Carvalho, Portugal, green-black, up against Johnny Magic, John Finkel, turning back the clock, white-blue deck. He is going to come out blistering out of the gun and hoping to overwhelm Carvalho. That is the basic gist of semi-final one. Semi-final two, down at the bottom bracket, Ming Shi of China has made it to the semi-final. He is playing a blue-white double Drowner of Secrets, Milieu to Tears kind of deck, up against Mario Pascoli, the Italian reigning champion. He's got a black-red deck. The monsters, they're okay. The removal is outstanding. So those are the two semi-finals. We are going to kick off, of course, with John Finkel against Marcio Carvalho. Scott Johns, 5 times Pro Tour top 8. He'll tell you what's going on the back table. You'll get the best of both matches, and we will get to that. 4 have left the arena. 4 remain. It's time for the semi-finals. Hello and welcome to the semi-finals of Pro Tour Kuala Lumpur here in Malaysia in the shadow of the Petronas Twin Towers. We have got 2 outstanding matches lined up for you here in the semis as you see the floor of the arena there. First of all, we have Marcio Carvalho. There you see him on the left of your screen from Portugal. Underway, he's doing the business, came through a 5-game set against Nikolai Herzog, a Hall of Famer. But top 8s don't get easy. Marcio Carvalho now faces another Hall of Famer in his way. There he is, the Shadow Mage Infiltrator himself, 1 blue and a black. Now, not really colour coordinated, Mr. Finkel, but he will not mind. What he will care about is that he is just 2 matches from an astonishing triumph. So that is our match. On the back table, you've got Ming Shi of China up against Mario Pascoli of Italy. We will keep you right up to date with that, but we are, of course, going to focus to begin with on Finkel against Carvalho. 0-0, and we are underway with Treefolk Harbinger for Carvalho and a Kithkin Greatheart for Finkel off Plains and Plains.
Yep, and it's worth noting with that Treefolk Harbinger, that was likely the first draw that Carvalho had, simply because he didn't play it on the first turn. The card he searched up, a 2-drop, 1/3, Bossk Banneret, and as we've stated before, John's deck is very aggressive, and in order to win, the Portuguese player needs to get in early and put up some defenses. So far, he's doing a good job of it, but John's still able to get in with his 2-1 Kithkin Greatheart, thanks to the Kinsbale Skirmisher he played on turn 3.
Yep, so that was a 3-2 when it came in. So Finkel's deck almost entirely white. We'll go through the deck lists for you as we go along. This is a classic pendulum-style matchup. The early game belongs to Finkel, and that's one of the reasons why. There's another Skirmisher. Out it comes. The Kithkin Greatheart goes in for 3. No blocks. Down to 14. The early turns are Finkel's. The late turns, thanks to the big Treefolk, Thorntooth Witch and so on, that's going to be Carvalho's. Now the trick will be, where is the tipping point? Where does the mid-game start? Does it start turn 3? Carvalho's in great shape. Does it start turn 6? Finkel's in great shape. And somewhere in that crucible is where these games are going to be determined. Finkel goes in all the way across the board. 3 men into the red zone, still with 2 land up. I guess he represents Surge of Thortweft. The players, of course, Bill, have seen each other's deck lists, so Marcio knows, as long as he's remembered, that Finkel does have such a card.
Yep, he knows that he's got Surge of Thortweft. He knows that he's got the Coordinated Barrage. But the important thing to recognize right now is that John has missed 2 land drops in a row. So even though he's got 3 creatures on the board, things have already started out pretty poorly for him and spun out of control, as his opponent has managed to play 3 creatures which are relevant blockers, one of which is the Leaf-Crowned Elder we've talked about. If he hits with the kinship on that, things are only going to get worse for John. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does here.
Yeah, I mean, as it happens, we've had a look at Finkel's hand, and he does have the Surge of Thought Weft, so he will be looking for some seriously disadvantageous blocking from his Portuguese opponent.
He also has the Coordinated Barrage, although the Surge will get him a draw to hopefully put him into a position to hit that 3rd land.
Sure. So that looks like the Leaf Hound. What's he blocked with there? Is that
He's blocked with the Harbinger?
Sure, okay.
On the Kith King Greatheart, yep. And looks like John's going to go ahead and go for the Surge.
Yep.
Get a couple extra points in.
And can I draw a land? That's what he wants.
Not this time. Looks like he hit Distant Melody on that card draw.
Yep.
Got to count his hand up, see if he needs to discard. None of his creatures died that combat, which was good.
Marcio?
Yeah, yep. Marcio gets a look at a free card for the kinship. Doesn't hit it. Marcio, of course, splashing the white for double Oblivion Ring and playing black himself, but it doesn't look like he's been able to come up with any swamps himself. So
he's looking pretty mono green at the moment,
which is doing him just fine. He's got a 3/5 and Everbark Shaman, and that's going to pose some problems increasingly for John, although it looks like John's sitting on Weight of Conscience, which could be very helpful here.
Absolutely. And he's also got Pestermite in hand, and he's got Kinsbell Balloonist. Now, Kinsbell Balloonist, 2/2 for 4. It's a real late-game card. It's the card that you use when you've got your opponent to 6. You make it, they don't get to remove it, you come in with it, bring another guy in, and look, it has wings. Thank you very much. So very much a finisher, really, the Kinsbell Balloonist, provided John's still got monsters in play.
Exactly, and it's one of those cards that gives a white-blue deck a little bit of reach, and when we talk about reach, we're saying getting through outside a traditional combat step on the ground, so whether it's with burn spells, evasive creatures in whatever regard, and by having that Kinsbell Balloonist, he gives himself the opportunity to do that and hopefully fly over all these tree folk, which are just... Well, that might actually make it irrelevant with the Cloud Crown Oak hitting the board.
Yep, 3/4. And we talked about reach. You've just said, in the sense of burn, this is keyword reach, capital R. And that is, well, we can reach up into the air and pluck your flyers up from the skies.
Exactly. Finkel did hit an island, however. I believe he's got the Mold Drifter sitting in his hand.
He has, so you're going to expect him to evoke here, right?
Not potentially, yeah. I would think that would be helpful, but he's also got Preeminent Captain, which you have to remember would, when getting into the combat zone, would help him further deploy his troops.
And there it is, you called it. And of course, he's got Pestermite in hand, so it's actually that Mold Drifter. He may get around to just naturally drawing the land and finally ending up with, here I am casting it for 5. He does have card advantage everywhere in hand at the moment.
Yep, and he's putting his opponent into a somewhat dangerous position. Feeling like he's ahead on the board, he might decide to start becoming aggressive, and that's a bad move for him, because if that Pestermite hits at the end of the turn, all of a sudden, there's a potential 8 damage getting through there. But Carvalho, a little bit more smarter than that, and picked up on it, passing without hitting his 5th land drop.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about having a plan going into matches, and Carvalho at lunch, he said, look, I understand that if I take, 5 to 6 points of damage in the first 5 turns, there is no way I lose that game from there. So he is all about how late can I go. Every turn that goes by, he feels that he is more and more in the game and a more and more overwhelming favourite.
Yep.
But the truth is, right here, he's down to 8. There's 4 monsters on the board to 3. The capacity for it to be 5 to 3, with the Pestermite tapping down, effectively making it 5/2, and at only 8 life. That is going to ask some serious questions of Carvalho.
You talked earlier about Pestermite being even better for the good players because they can potentially do extra plays with it. John had the opportunity there to play Pestermite on his main phase, but instead of tapping anything, untapping a Plains and then playing Gold Metal Harrier. He's going to opt not to do that, so we might see him use it aggressively in order to tap some of the blockers and get in on the following turn. Getting in with that Preeminent Captain would be pretty huge because it would allow the Kinsbell Balloonist to hit play.
Wow.
So even though John started with 2 less lands, the land struggles that Marcio Carvalho is dealing with here is actually going to potentially prove to be a bigger factor. It's so funny how in these professional games things swing back and forth so quickly because these guys just grind it out so hard.
But look what we've got there with 6 Forest. The 6th Forest, then we get Fertile Ground, and that is the end of mana worries for Carvalho, at least for now. And what's coming down?
Ooh, Thorntooth Witch.
Thorntooth Witch. Now, that is going to seriously swing things. And at this point, John Vilken must realise that we are near the end of his window of opportunity. The game may still have plenty to go, but his chances of winning are reducing. So out comes the Pestamite, end of turn. Carvalho just nods, yeah, okay, I understand, that's fine.